Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a civil rights icon. I'm going to do a little short tribute to him today. Number two, change the curriculum and enable more real life teachers. It's a throwback to Friday's show. And number three, presidential no-nos. Yeah, we're going to have some fun with that today. First, let's check in on your ABCs, right? The all body workout, the blissful sleep, and the colorful diet. Well, let me tell you guys, today wasn't so great in the gym. I was feeling it. Back, knee, feeling tons of pain. So I did the 80-20 rule. I did 80% of the workout. Going to try to go back for 20%. Did not do any elliptical today, so I got to try to get that in. Blissful sleep, much better for me. I don't know about you, but I'm trying to improve on that, getting better. And the colorful diet, I'm always spot on that, guys. Egg whites, kale, apple today. Got my colors in. All right, here we go. Let's give a shout out to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he was a Baptist minister and founding president of Southern Christian Leadership Conference from 1957 until his assassination in 1968. Now, I've taught this in school. You guys know the iconic speech, I Have a Dream. I was just 5 years old. I just turned 5 years old on April 4th when he was shot standing on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. That was an event that marked a tragic turning point in the civil rights movement. Now, again, I was a little boy at the time, but everybody was aware of the whole civil rights movement. And he was there to support a sanitation worker strike when he was struck by a high-powered rifle, James Earl Ray. This guy was an escaped convict from the Mission Street or Missouri State Penitentiary. Yeah, I didn't know much about that, but he was 39. Dr. King was 39 at the time. Tragic death, and this guy James Earl Ray, he was given a 99-year sentence in prison. I think he died like 30 years later. It's a good thing he's gone, but. Let me tell you, that was a very harrowing, trying times in the 60s, right? Dr. King's, he was one of four major assassinations in the 60s. First, it was John F. Kennedy in 1963. It was 5 months after I was born. Then there was Malcolm X in 1965, Dr. King in 1968. 2 months later, Robert F. Kennedy was shot. I remember this. I taught at the hotel, the Ambassador. Was it the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles? That's a high school now, and I taught at that school. And there's the kitchen where they took them out through the kitchen, and I literally ate in the kitchen there. They still have it down in the basement. But that was 2 months later in June of 1968. But the most iconic event marking his legendary life was the I Have a Dream speech delivered on August 28, 1963. And that was during the historic March on Washington, D.C. He was there for jobs. It was all about jobs and freedom, no doubt. And it was on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Well, let me tell you that. I watched a video of a man who was a speechwriter for Dr. King, and the I Have a Dream was extemporaneous. He wasn't planning that. So the speech was supposed to last 4 minutes. It lasts 17 minutes, but they said about halfway through, he moved his notes over to the left. There was a woman there, a gospel singer, who yelled out, "Dr. King, tell him I have a dream." And then he went off about how I have a dream. And let me tell you, I play that back. I've played that back in high school. Kids need to know about that. Major turning point. Rest in peace, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. All right, let's go into the second topic here I want to talk about, because on Friday, I did a whole show on this, right, about how can we fix our troubled educational system. And again, for me, spending 5 years as a substitute teacher in inner city schools, guys, so I was in public inner city schools, you know that. It's all about, to me, changing the curriculum, giving these students, these kids, we got to give them the opportunity to succeed in their neighborhoods, because they're not leaving their neighborhoods. So what does that entail? I believe you have to enable more real life teachers, right? We need to embark on a bold new approach, because the approach we have is not working. All right. So this is a well entrenched system. This hasn't changed much since I went to public school in the 1970s, right? They said that I was looking this up. The exact numbers vary, but roughly up between 160,000 and 214,000 teachers emerge each year in the United States, though many of them never enter the classroom. So call it about 200,000 teachers. But the problem is, three-quarters of the United States face teacher shortages with approximately 36,000 vacancies. And I think that was from 2022. But anyway, how do we solve that? How do we fix that? I mean, I think we need two teachers in every classroom. You guys know that. But hey, in my book, The Sub, right? Tales of an Inner City Teacher, I give solutions. I talk about it. And one of my favorite chapters, this is chapter 14, is definitely one of my favorite chapters. Let me see what's going on over here. Yeah, let me get rid of that. But anyway, I talk about changing the curriculum. I'm going to read this again because, again, this is what I see as the solution. Yeah, okay, there's vocational schools, but I don't know if that's working. As for the high school students, this is chapter 14. If it ain't broke, fix it. As for the high school students, why not restructure the curriculum so students could specify in specific careers found within their neighborhoods that provide opportunities for high school graduates without college degrees? I talk about restaurant services, automotive services, beauty services, all sorts of things. You guys can read about this in here, but let me give an example because this is the truth that happened to me. Okay, again, grew up in a very strong Sicilian family. My father was a barber, and my mother didn't. My mother was a beautician in the 60s when they got married, and they got early 70s. But then she had to leave that profession to become a housewife. She raised three kids. Now, I know this because we never had health insurance. All this business about it, we never had health insurance growing up. When I was 16 years old, we're 1979. I turned 16. My old man's like, I think we really need health insurance. My brother was a year older. My sister was 12 years old. Things were going up. It was more expensive to pay cash. So my mother's like, all right, let me go back to work. I remember she goes to interview at the vocational school to be a teacher teaching beauty services. She was a great beautician. Well, let me tell you, she didn't get the job. She didn't get the job because she didn't have a college degree. And it's like, what does that mean? Why do you need a college degree if you're a successful beautician and you want to teach kids beauty? Why do you need a college degree? Well, she didn't get the job. Well, good news is she ended up going to work for the state. I think my father, my father knew everybody. So I think she was fortunate enough to get a job working for the state, but she did, and that's where we had health insurance. We never had health insurance, like I said, till I was 16 years old. So, hey, we got to change the requirements of being a full-time teacher. I believe that we need to reward individuals who have a skill. Maybe you're an automotive mechanic. You have a skill, and you want to empower our nation's youth, especially inner city youth, because those markets aren't changing, right? You got to empower these youth so they can change themselves and give themselves skills so they can go on and change the market where they're living. Because these kids, I said it, they're not leaving their neighborhood, they're not going to college. Forget that. And it's not just vocational school, it needs to be done in the high school. I believe that. Anyway, all right, guys, there's my talk about that. Change the curriculum. It's a tough move. I understand that, but we need to do it. All right. Let me give a shout out here to the American Facts newsletter. I get this newsletter. I read a lot of newsletters, but I read this one. It was thought it was interesting. I don't know if you read this or know this, but President of the United States, Donald Trump. Hey, I happen to be a fan of Donald Trump, but anyway, although it seems glamorous and it may come with a lot of nice benefits, let me tell you, the role of the president is filled with strict protocols. So I'm calling this no-nos. Presidential no-nos. These are things that the president of the United States can never do. All right. The top 10 can'ts of president of the United States. He can't do it because of, well, I mean, these are rules. These are rules to protect him. Number one, can't open windows in the White House. Wow. I mean, I love fresh air. How about that? You can't open the windows in the White House. Number two, can't go to the cinema. And that ruins it for me. I guess I won't be running for president because you can't go to crowded, dark places or spaces. That makes sense, though. Number three, you cannot attend your children's events. Yeah, well, I guess that's at risk as well. Too many people. Number four, you can't buy your own tech devices. How about that? Maybe these going to get hacked. Can't do it. Forget the iPhone. All right. What do we say? Number five, you cannot block people on social media. Yeah, that's a good one for me because I actually tagged the White House in a couple of these because, hey, I think they should read my book and come up with some solutions for changing the system. Well, anyway, that's seen as suppressing free speech. Can't block anybody on social media. Number six, you can't go out alone. Forget about it. He needs a secret service to clear it all. Right. Well, that makes sense. Number seven, drive. The president can't drive. And by the way, guys, you want to see a great movie with Ryan Gosling, Carey Mulligan from 2011. The movie's called Drive. Go see that movie. I mean, I'll tell you, I love that movie. All right. Number eight, fly on commercial airplanes. Well, I mean, with his staff, he'll take over the whole plane, but no, that makes sense. You can't fly on commercial airplanes. Number nine, you can't accept expensive gifts. I like this one. Well, it says you want to prevent the opportunity for corruption or conflict of interest. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. And number 10, you cannot discard office mail or official mail because, well, that's property of the government. All right. There you go, guys. I just want to have some fun with that. We're talking serious stuff here about education, talking serious stuff about Dr. Martin Luther King, but we're gonna have fun with that. All right, guys. Well, let me tell you, super cold here today in Indianapolis. We're live and it's below zero. But in Miami, what's it going to be? 70 degrees. I wish I were in Miami watching the game. Hey, good luck to the Hoosiers tonight. You guys know that Indiana University is playing Miami for the national championship football. So good luck to those who are wagering. I'm not wagering, but I sure hope Indiana wins and we have ourselves a picnic or a parade, big parade when they win. They are going to win. All right. Good luck. That's it, everybody. Get your workout in as usual. Have an awesome holiday.